Hey guys, Tony here. So let's talk about pricing in the clinic, pricing for your plan of care for an individual session. And I'm going to talk specifically about pricing for a cash-based model, a self-pay model, because I think that's where most of us are going, away from third-party reimbursement towards self-pay services. So I was watching a video, and I'll share a link in the description of this video to the video I'm going to reference here. The channel is called The Future. The guy who is presenting is a graphic designer, videographer, and I've been following this individual for a couple years now, and he does really, really great work on pricing. And so in this video, he's talking to a collection of graphic designers, and he asks the group, what do you charge for a logo? And I want you to translate that for this video into what do you charge for a session? What do you charge for a plan of care? Whatever language resonates with you. So he asked his group, what do you charge for logo? And somebody bravely kind of raised their hand. They said, well, $500. So he said, okay, any other prices? And somebody said $1,500. And then somebody said, I think somebody said $15,000. And so as he's talking, he draws a Nike swoosh on the whiteboard behind him. And he says, what is the value of that logo right now, right there? And of course, somebody said billions. I mean, the Nike swoosh is just massively valuable. And he talks about how if he had a shirt, just a plain white t-shirt, it's only worth the fabric it takes to create it. But if he slaps a Nike swoosh on it, all of a sudden that shirt is worth $20, $30. And so he draws this continuum where he says, look, here is the small mom and pop shop, right? Here is the multinational conglomerate, massive company like Nike. The same exact logo sold to the mom and pop shop has very little worth, very little value, because they're not putting the millions and millions and millions of dollars into building a brand around the logo. Whereas the same logo for the large company is worth millions, because they're going to put millions behind it. They have millions on the line, so much money at stake behind that logo. That logo is the face, the image, the graphic of the company. But they're going to build a culture around that logo. Now, I'm not talking to you about logos. I'm talking about the idea that the same service, the same product, the same outcome is worth very different amounts based on the client who is purchasing it. The mom and pop aren't going to pay, they can get a logo on Fiverr for like $7. And if they don't like it, they buy a new one. They don't care. There's nothing behind it. Whereas a company like Nike, if they lost the swoosh, if somebody else used that logo, they would lose billions in revenue. So it's important for us to think about that in terms of patient care. Now, what if I specialize in rotator cuff repair and in post-op surgical shoulder surgeries, rehab. Now I've got two cases, right? I've got a professional pitcher, baseball player, who had shoulder surgery and needs rehab. That pitcher has tens of millions of dollars on the line. That pitcher puts far more value on the services of rehab than, say, like my grandmother. My grandmother had a rotator cuff repair. She's in her late 80s. She doesn't make a living using her shoulder. Yes, she wants a good quality of life. Yes, she wants to be able to feed herself and bathe herself and dress and do all those things. But the reality is she doesn't have $20 million on the line, right? So the value of the same rehab program to the pitcher is worth far more than the value of that rehab program to my grandma, okay? In terms of dollars, monetary. I'm not talking emotion or any of the other stuff. I'm purely talking about numbers here. So, that being said, I don't think any of you listening to me today are going to be like, well, okay, you get into a Val, Mr. Jones, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a CEO. Okay, your plan of care is going to be $10,000. Mrs. Smith, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a retired school teacher. Okay, your plan of care is going to be worth, $500. You're not going to do that. You're not going to vary pricing based on a person's financial means or occupation or whatever. But what I would say is understand who you serve. Because in this video, the person from the Future channel, he was saying, look, I have an expensive office, an expensive lease, like I can't afford to serve the mom and pop shop owner. I can only serve people who can afford to pay $30,000 for a logo and another $20,000 for a branding package and so on, right? That doesn't take services away from other people. He's just identified who he can serve. And the same for you. I would say if you're looking at truly finding kind of the ideal market, who are you gonna serve? I can't say for you because I don't know you. This is YouTube, but I'm gonna talk about myself. Right now, I'm here in my clinic. In my clinic, I mostly serve individuals who either don't have the means to pay, don't have the desire to pay, or if they do pay, they're gonna pay, minimal amounts of money for the services they provide. The clinic is not really like representative, obviously, of a self-pay cash-based business because the clinic is a third-party payer model. The insurance companies are paying us to provide a level of service, and we do that as contractors of the insurance company, and we do it to the best of our ability. But if I'm looking at going 100% cash based, if I was the one delivering the patient care, the experience, the things that I'm being hired for, I can tell you right now, I would say, look, if you want to hire me to do what I believe is best for you, I probably can't do that for less than $5,000 a month. Now, I would eliminate per visit charges, I would eliminate per unit charges, I would eliminate all of that junk because all that does is get in the way of me providing my ideal client the experience that I want to provide. And in its place, my exchange in value is, I would say, this isn't the kind of patient care experience that you may have been expecting in an outpatient clinic. You're not gonna lay on a mat and do 3 sets of 10 straight leg raise, right? That's not what you're hiring me to do. I understand change is difficult. I understand you, my client, are intelligent. You know what needs to be done. What you don't know is how to get it done. I know I need to eat a healthier diet. I don't know how to get myself to eat a healthier diet. I know I need to sleep more. I don't know how to get myself to sleep more because other priorities get in my way. So what the client is hiring me to do is be that, we'll call it a coach, that helps guide them from where they are to where they want to be, provide the resources, create the drills that lets them practice so they can succeed. Right? And my experience for $5,000 a month isn't about individual sessions. It's, look, I'm only going to accept a handful of clients, maybe 5 clients, maybe 10 clients. I live in a city that has a population of nearly 60,000, 70,000. Do you think I can't find 5 people out of 60,000 who will sit down and say, okay, I understand what I've been doing isn't working. And if I keep doing what I've been doing, I'm gonna keep getting the same negative result. So I'm ready for a change. This is the client sitting in front of me. I'm ready for a change. Now, people will spend $5,000 on a week-long vacation between travel, between food, accommodations, entertainment. Do you think $5,000 for a month of your dedicated time is not worth, the price? Can you not deliver? Because you're going to be talking about food, you're going to be talking about stress, you're going to be talking about lifestyle, mindfulness, meditation. You're going to bring all of these other resources in that they wouldn't otherwise have going down the street to an in-network provider. But understand that, you're really not selling physical therapy. You're selling the extension of life. You're selling fulfillment. You're selling, what's it worth to my client to live not just another year, not just survive another year, but to be able to take that year and go do the things that you want to do, right? We hear the stories right now of all those individuals stuck in a nursing home who can't see their family, can't see their friends, they're non-ambulatory in some cases. Like, they've lost all of their freedom. They are essentially in a concentration camp, in a prison. Like, they have no independence. And what you're providing as a rehab specialist is how do I say it, safety from that, avoiding that, right? And I think any logical person can look at that and feel the emotion. They probably have had a mom or a dad or an aunt or an uncle. Maybe they've lost a limb due to diabetes. Maybe they've had other complications. I think at this stage, most of us have some sort of familiarity with someone in our family or close to us who has experienced that life, the life in a nursing home, the life of captivity, the life of seclusion. And so we want to provide our clients with the opportunity to avoid that or push that down the road. The other part of this conversation is, again, what is an extra day worth to you? You know, what are you going to do with $5,000 when you're laying on your deathbed and you're surrounded by family? That $5,000 isn't going to do anything to help you, but if it prolongs your life so that you can say goodbye, so that you can embrace the people that love you and that you love, like, that is the value. That is what we're trying to provide. I'm not trying to provide 3 sets of 10 straight leg raise. I'm not trying to provide a short-term solution to your shoulder pain when you have all of these other issues, all of these other complexities. So clearly defining and understanding the value you actually bring as a cash-based provider, and it doesn't matter who's paying you, like whether insurance pays me, whether the client pays me, I don't care, right? I just want to do what I do best. I want to do what almost 20 years of experience in the profession and hundreds of thousands of dollars in education. I want to do what all of that allows me to do, which is help an individual improve, ultimately, the quality of their life, the enjoyment of their life, the life experience they have moving forward. And a $5,000 a month price tag on something like that is a drop in the bucket to the person who values that over other things. So guys, let me know if what I said makes sense. I know I got a little bit rambly. We're at 12 minutes. I'm gonna stop the video right here, but talk to me, help me understand what it is you are really selling, because I guarantee you're not selling PT, OT, SOP. I just know you're not. If you were, you'd be working in a clinic for 35 bucks an hour. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching.